Right, I've got my October 2024 update for the latest credit card news and special offers here in the UK. So let's start off with the big one that you guys have been asking me about for such a long time. And I've got a small update for this. Not a huge amount of news. There might be a slightly disappointing news amongst the excitement, but this involves Chase. They are looking like a new credit card from them is coming sooner rather than later. Bloomberg reported that their staff members are trialing a digital credit card with their app at the moment, right now, which means it could well be coming to us as consumers sooner rather than later. So that's the good news. Bad news is this initial card looked like it's just going to be a basic credit card. Nothing fancy at all. Nothing like the debit card, which gives us 1% cashback, which is great, and nothing like what the market's like in America, where there are huge welcome bonuses and other cashback rates. Now, of course, that stuff is likely to come, right? They're not going to just do this for the sake of it. They're going to want to try and probably carry on and try and nail that part of the market. I would be surprised when they do come, though, those offers, that they are as good as the ones in America, but they could still be good compared to what we have in the UK. So I will update you as soon as I have any more information about that launch. And then after that, any other kind of new features that might be coming along. Now, what else I've got to tell you about? Now, Asda credit card. This is one which has been all right. It's not been amazing, but I've told you about it. Sometimes some decent welcome offers that come and go. There's one right now for 30 quid, which I'll briefly mention later on, though. Better ones are around, which I'd hang around for. But anyway, the reason why you might have wanted to get the Asda credit card is because it would give you 1% cash back on your spending in Asda and 0.3% elsewhere, which, although 1% at Asda you could get with some of the Amexes, with the Chase debit card and so on, the 0.3 elsewhere for a backup credit card wasn't too bad. Again, I'm not saying this was amazing, but it was not bad. However, for new customers, that has dropped. You now get 0.75 in Asda and 0.2% elsewhere, which basically makes it relatively pointless because you can beat both those rates with different cards. The only reason you might want to get it, say, is down to if there's a particularly attractive welcome bonus at some point. Now, interestingly, this is just for new customers at the moment. It could, if you've already got one before the beginning of September 2024, you'll still have the existing rates. Now, that will likely change at some point, I'm sure. But obviously, keep an eye on the communication that you do get from Asda Money to see if that is going to happen. What else we got? Now, I've already told you about this one separately. This happened in mid-August, but for those of you who might have missed it, Amazon have relaunched their credit card. This is a brand new one. Didn't have one for about a year and a half. This one is in partnership with Barclaycard. It is a reward card, so you can earn points on your spending at Amazon and elsewhere. It's particularly good in that first sort of short period because you'll get additional points there. And also when you first apply, you can get some kind of Amazon voucher there, depending on whether you had the previous card or not, be 20 or 50 quid. I won't repeat myself. You can check out that other content either on the YouTube channel as a whole video or at becleveryourcash.com. There is an article as well telling you more about it. But again, new card, a new way to earn some points. Now, one change that I've told you about before, but I'll just give you a quick reminder, involves the British Airways American Express credit cards. And one of the features with these cards is if you spend a certain amount of money in a year, and that year is the anniversary of when you first opened it. So if you opened it on the 15th of March, then you've got 12 months until the 14th of March to spend that amount of money. Now, that used to vary depending on the card you had, but from the 1st of November, that is standardized. Both cards, it is £15,000 in that same 12-month period. And why this is important to say about now as well, because your year isn't going to be running from 1st November to the 31st of October, at least for most of you it won't. But that limit will change no matter what. So let's say right now you are on, for the free card, it was a £12,000 spend. For the premium plus the pay card, it was a £10,000 spend in the year. If you are close to that amount and you don't think within your year, and you don't think that you're necessarily would hit that 15 grand spend, and there are some spends you can do in the next month, normal spend, not additional things, normal spend you could put on that credit card instead to trigger that voucher, it might be worth trying to do that. Things to bear in mind, of course, is when you do trigger that voucher, that's when that voucher's own expiry date starts kicking in. So again, if you've got a trip planned for a couple of years down the line on the Premium Plus credit card companion voucher, then maybe you won't want to trigger it just yet. But yeah, an important thing to know about and look into a little bit more detail. 1st November, that change comes in. There's also been a revamp for Virgin Atlantic's own flight club points. This is coming in again from the end of October. It's quite complicated. I'm not going to go into all the detail here, partly because we don't cover those kind of cards in so much detail, and those points in so much detail in terms of the redemptions. It could be good for you. It could be bad for you. Seems to be a lot of things around like dynamic pricing in terms of redeeming your points forced seats on flights and changing how many guaranteed the seats there are and different things. So if you have some points that you've been saving up to use with Virgin Atlantic and you want to use them on a certain flight at a certain price and guarantee you want to do that, then you might want to try and again redeem them before this change comes into play. If you just collect them and you're a bit more flexible in what you do with them, then you may want to see what happens. You might have enough points anyway to redeem them right now, but it's worth knowing that is coming on the cards. A couple of other changes, and these next three to tell you about are all linked into different banks kind of getting out of the credit card market or changing who actually the bank's ownership themselves. So the first one to tell you about here is Metro. Metro have not only stopped accepting new applications for new credit cards, they've actually closed down all existing credit cards with them. That happened actually on the 10th of September. So obviously if you're a Metro customer with a credit card, you know this already. That has gone. So if you are looking for a new credit card, don't forget, and the same with any credit card that I talk about, don't forget it's really important to do an eligibility search first of all. That's when you go to a comparison site or sometimes directly with a card provider and they do a soft check on your credit report just to give you an idea of how likely it is you're going to be accepted. So rather than blindly applying for that card over there or that card over there, eligibility search will give you a good idea of the best ones to avoid rejection. So that's Metro Bank. That's gone. They're not coming back into the credit card market. The other people who stop taking applications are Sainsbury's Bank. They have at the moment paused any applications, and actually not too long before that they kind of stopped any sort of decent kind of promotions in terms of nectar points and stuff. So they were just pretty bog standard cards anyway, but you can't apply for one. And this is ahead of what's looking like, but not guaranteed, all of their kind of credit cards moving over to NatWest in 2025. Now, if you're an existing customer with a Sainsbury's credit card, don't worry, nothing is changing right now. You can keep using it. Just make sure you keep an eye on information when that change does happen, if that could have any implication. But I'd imagine a lot of those things will just move over wholesale. They might move you on the card at some point, but that's what's going on there. And the third one here is Tesco Bank. They are also looking to get out of the credit card market, but what they were doing here is transferring over to Barclays. Now, this is subject to approval, but if it does happen this month, that approval, again, start of November, that's likely to be the case when things will start moving over. Again, no change here. Your cards are still valid. They'll just be issued by Barclaycard and managed by Barclaycard rather than Tesco Bank. One thing you might want to consider here is that Barclaycard tend to have a rule, and this could be changing as well actually, but tend to have a rule that you can only have one Barclaycard at any time with them, whatever type it is. So if you were tempted by that Amazon Barclaycard that I mentioned before, or their Avios ones, or any of the other options out there, you might want to think about closing down that Tesco card, particularly if you don't use it, so you're not having that issue of being an existing Barclaycard customer next year when or next month, next year, whenever it might happen, if you did want to go for one of those cards. It's particularly for one of those welcome offers that often require you to have not been a customer with Barclaycard for about 6 months or so. Again, just speculation here, but something to think about. And the final one here, again, nothing to worry about here, but the Virgin money has now been taken over by Nationwide Building Society. For at least a year, they're going to completely operate as separate banks, so nothing is going to change for at least a year. Potentially later on, they might start moving people over to the Nationwide brand, and that could have different impact. But again, it could be different products. Not going to impact you if you have a Virgin Money credit card right now. Just worth knowing that is happening. Now, let's quickly move on to special offers. There are a few to tell you about. I'm actually going to tell you about one that has been and gone, but I'm going to tell you about it because it's useful in some ways to kind of know that it happened and tell you how to make sure that you do know about them when they happen if one of these updates isn't around in time. This was around HSBC, and they sent an email out to their Visa credit card customers. Don't know if it's all of them or just some of them, but you had to have a Visa HSBC credit card. At the end of September, they were sent this email, and you had about, less than a week to activate this offer. But if you did that by the end of September, then you could earn 10% cash back in October, November, and December of 2024 on certain products such as groceries and travel, things like that. It was capped at £50 of cash back every single month, but that's a tasty amount of cash to be earning, right? On things you're spending money on anyway. Potentially 150 quid you'd make from that as an existing customer. Now, as I said, it didn't last very long in terms of getting onto it, and you already had to have a credit card in order to be eligible. But 2 points here. One, we have a newsletter, becleverwithyourcash.com/newsletter. If you haven't already signed up for it, do sign up for it. That comes into your inbox every single Thursday, every single week, and we featured it in there. So that is a great place to go to make sure you don't miss out on things every single week. But also, sometimes things last even a shorter period of time, and obviously we've got our social media channels and we can push them out on those as well. So you might want to follow us at Be Clever With Your Cash on all those different things as well. But that's one thing I want to share with you so you don't miss out if something similar was to happen. Obviously, in this instance, you needed to be an HSBC customer and get that email. So hopefully you'd have found that anyway. But the other point is that kind of sense of like, making sure you do open communication from your banks and your providers. If you don't use the product, how often it comes through, oh, you've got a new thing. Oh, it's a statement. Don't actually look at it. But maybe do. Check these things because you never know what you might have missed out on. 150 quid, if you'd spent that amount, obviously, on those areas, will be really, really welcome. So that's an offer that's been and gone. What's still around? Well, there's one which ends very, very, very soon. It is on the 8th of October, your last chance to get this. Again, this is something we did share when it launched about 4 or 5 weeks ago over on our newsletter and on the website. But I'll tell you about it now in case you've got time to get it if you are eligible. This is the British Airways American Express Premium Plus credit card, another boosted offer, boosting how much you can earn the free points from 30,000 Avios to 60,000 Avios. Now, this one, as with before, and it's really important you follow these steps to get more information over on the website to really make sure you are getting this right. You do not go to the American Express website. You go instead to the British Airways Executive Club website. That is basically where, when you earn Avios, where they live. So if you're going to earn Avios points, you have to have this, right? And it's free. So you go there, you log into your account, and you look for the promotion there, and you click from there to Amex and then apply for the card. And if you do that and you're accepted for the card, and as long as you haven't had either of the British Airways Amex cards in your name in the last 2 years, which is unusual for Amex offers, because if you've had a different card like the Gold or the Platinum or the Nectar, you're fine. Normally those would rule you out, but the only ones that rule you out are the 2 British Airways Amex cards. If you haven't had them and you're accepted, and this is the challenge with this one as well, this has jumped up quite a bit with this particular offer. You have to spend £6,000 in the first 3 months. Lots of money to spend. And there is a £300 annual fee. But you do that, you spend the £6,000 in 3 months, you pay the £300 fee, you then will get those 60,000 Avios loaded to your account. And in fact, because you earn 1.5 Avios points for every pound you spend, and you spend £6,000, there's another 9,000 points on top. Now, you can obviously use those for flights if you wish, or other things, but if you want to redeem them into Nectar points, which you can do, that works out about £345 profit. And obviously then you can keep spending if you wish to generate the companion voucher, as we mentioned before. Another Amex offer to quickly share with you as well. This is a basic one, the Amex Cashback Everyday Card. Normally you get 5% cashback on the first £2,000 you spend. That has been increased short term to 5% on the first 2,500 you spend. So basically, as long as you spend that money, it's worth an extra 25 quid in terms of the bonus. I'm not the biggest fan of this one versus getting the normal Amex cashback card. Yes, that Amex cashback card comes with a fee, but you'll earn more money generally over time, particularly because you can get a higher welcome offer. If you apply for this via a cashback site like a Quidco or Top Cashback, you'll get more, but certainly worth a look. The other big warning on the Amex Cashback Everyday Card is you do need to spend £3,000, I think, off the top of my head, at least every single year on the cards to get any cash back. So let's say you spend £2,500, you get your 5% cash back and stop using it, you actually won't get that 5% cash back at all. And I did say I'll share with you that there is an Asda Money welcome offer as well. This one is worth 30 quid. It's running for the next few weeks. I personally wouldn't go for it. We do have more information on it and a welcome offer running from John Lewis Money right now over on the website. So you can look at those in detail. The reason I wouldn't go for this Asda Money one right now is they have offered £50 ones throughout the last year. They even had a £100 offer at one point this year. So again, this is only if you really want to get it, particularly now that Asda card isn't that amazing. As I said, becleverwithyourcash.com is where you want to go to get more information about everything I've spoken about today, including all the details on those different offers. Thanks so much for watching. Check out these videos here for more ways to make the most of your money.